In this video, I will teach you how to draw curly hair with highlights using colored pencils. It's actually quite simple, and I only used about 4 different colored pencils for the hair in this sketch. And yeah, this is going to be a quick tutorial, so let's get started. So if you don't own any pan pastels, you can skip this step and go to the next one. I just like to first begin by adding some shadows with pan pastels. I think they work great as a base because it will save some time and also provide some more depth to your drawing when you use them. And I don't have that many colors of pan pastels, so personally I only add a dark brown in places where I want the hair to be darker. But if I had more colors, I would probably add them wherever they would fit in. And by the way, when it comes to the shape of the hairstyle, you can do whatever you want. With this tutorial, I mainly want to show you how you can color the hair with the colored pencils. So next I go in with this light pencil and I just draw in a circle motion in places where I don't want the hair to be too dark, because when you use this first, it kind of prevents the color that you put on top of it to make it too dark, basically. Then I use a slightly darker shade to draw those medium tones in the hair, and I'm still using a circular motion as you can see me doing on the paper to the right. And depending on the hair that you're drawing, some curls may be curled in a more even pattern or however you're supposed to explain it, whereas some are curled in maybe a straighter pattern. And yeah, with this shade, I start by filling it in where I want the hair to look darker, because you really don't want to add too many darker values where the hair is supposed to have the most highlights. However, I will show you a technique later on how to add more highlights afterwards in places where you have made it too dark. And here on the side, I just wanted to demonstrate to you what I meant by straighter curls. So for some people with curly hair, the curly pattern may not look the same throughout the entire hair. So look at your reference photo and see what the curls look like. But I promise I never try to make them look exactly as in the picture, because I feel like it would take a lot of time to try to replicate it, and I don't really have the patience for that. But yeah, I try to just mimic it somehow. And here on the side, I'm showing you that I'm also drawing curls in kind of like a half moon shape in some places. And I do this with a darker pencil. And the reason why I do it in this shape is because I want to create darker shadows. But yeah, I don't want to do this everywhere, only in some places where I just want some parts of the curls to look darker, basically. And also with the medium shade, I drew the curls in a messy pattern, but now with this darker shade, I, at least in some places, focus more on defining individual curls by drawing circles. But as you can see, I also make some messy curls with this darker pencil as well in some places. Then I like to go in with the medium shade again to fill in some gaps. I also then continue to alternate between the shades, and as I have already mentioned, I apply the darker tones in places where the hair is darker in my reference photo, and the lighter shades where it's lighter. And yeah, I draw in the same different patterns as I have shown you. And one way to add highlights is to use your lightest pencil and draw on top of the darker tones. However, depending on which brand of pencils you are using, this may only lighten up the hair a little bit. Even if you have good quality pencils, they still maybe don't highlight as much as you want. And for that, I have a technique that I will show you. But first, I just want to show you here that because I apply the lightest shade at the bottom, the medium shade doesn't make everything too dark here, and it actually gives a nice effect. Using a black colored pencil is also good for those areas where the hair is much darker to add more contrast. So to add more highlights at the end, I use a sharp tool or knife to scrape away some of the color I drew previously. But try this first on the side of your drawing because this usually works best on thicker paper like I'm using here. But yeah, if you have a thinner paper, it may not work as well. With this technique, you can also add some thin individual hair strands or flyaways to make the hair look a bit more realistic. But yeah, that was all I had for this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up so that more people can find it and learn how to draw. And also don't forget to subscribe to see when I upload more drawing tutorials. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video.